So I have a little bit of history with Tanglewood. Well, while I was a student at Yale University, I went and spent my summers there as a student, as a fellow, and it was an absolutely phenomenal experience for me and very important one. Not only that I met Yo-Yo Ma there, which was wonderful because he was doing some coaching there and we got to play some stuff together, was great, but also Joel Krosnick, who was the cello teacher there at the time, and I met a lot of wonderful composers there and did a lot of collaborations on new music, which really started a lot of new collaborations with me for me during that time. Marin Alsop, the conductor, was there at the same time. She was a fellow, and she and I became quite connected back then and did quite a bit of work afterwards in New York together. So it was Tanglewood has great memories for me. I love the fact that Tanglewood has such a great diversity in it. It has the great classical element, of course, with a BSO, but it also has the jazz. It has the New Music Festival, which I think is a very important component of the whole overall festival. And it has such a, I mean, it really is one of the greatest festivals in this country and probably in the world in terms of just the ability to draw so many people to come there. And of course, the Berkshires, phenomenally beautiful place. So I'm very much looking forward to performing there. So I grew up in an Argentinian community in Israel, and with a mixture of all these different influence of cultures. Of course, Western classical music was a very strong one, but in my home, I heard tango music from the day I was born, on the turntable of my father. And when I first went to Buenos Aires to meet some of my family, I also met Astor Piazzolla as a child and fell in love with his music and his fabulous way of performing. He plays the bandoneon, which is the Argentinian sort of accordion. Beautiful, beautiful instrument. And I love that music. And I actually recorded a whole album of Piazzolla's music. I'm currently also collaborating with Pablo Ziegler, who is one of Piazzolla's, he's a pianist who plays with Piazzolla, and we're doing a lot of work together. And so it's a great pleasure for me to explore this idea that Donal Fox has of taking Piazzolla and just kind of expanding his vocabulary. Piazzolla himself was really interested in Bach on the one hand and in jazz on the other, and he that was his genius, is that he took tango, which is really was the music from the streets, and elevated it to real art music and incorporated all these elements, both Bach but also took it to the whole area of jazz and improvisation. And so I think that this is a wonderful idea to sort of explore that through the lens of what Donal is doing. And so I'm very excited about trying to see where I fit in all of that. It's going to be an interesting challenge to see how the cello is going to fit within this jazz quartet. And Donal and I actually talked about it quite a bit, and talked about how to incorporate, whether to stay acoustic and the one great thing about jazz in particular and jazz drummers in particular is that they have this ability to not overwhelm, because and I have a lot of experience performing with drummers, anywhere from rock drummers to very subtle, contemporary kind of percussionist. So I'm not worried about that. I think we'll find the way that it would all mix together. What I'm looking forward to is actually seeing how I can expand my vocabulary and make it match and mix with what they are doing. And they're, Donald Fox Ensemble, they've worked together before, and so I'm coming in sort of as a new component to all of this. So it'd be interesting to see how would that happen and what we'll do. But I think it'd be cool because with the cello, I could try to mix within, create all kinds of different, pizzicato sounds and more sort of rhythmical sound, but then also sort of shine above in a way, and some melodic material. So we'll see what happens. I think mostly since I'm not really a jazz improviser, I do improvisation, but it's not in the kind of style that they do. I think mostly Donnell is going to write parts for me. So far, this is what, I've gotten a lot of scores from him. He sent me transcriptions and we go back and forth. In fact, tomorrow we are meeting for the first time to try to kind of, look at the scores and revise them. And then we'll see. There might be some surprise elements of improvisation, but mostly I think my parts are going to be written down. A little bit of Bach, a little bit of Piazzolla, and everything in between. I mean, I think the idea is to take this great music and to sort of try to incorporate, Donald Fox's vision, which is really bring the jazz and the classical element together. So everybody in this ensemble is so fabulous in terms of just their dexterity and ability to play and virtuosity. So I think that you'll hear all of that. And then you'll hear the cello, which is kind of an unusual mix in that realm, sort of bringing a different element into it. So I think it's going to be exciting. In my exploration and journey through this world, I love doing collaborations with in unexpected ways, and that's always what I've been drawn to, and what I've done, and it always takes me to something beautiful and new and great. And I think this is one of those. We'll see what it's going to be, but I'm very excited about it because it's new and I don't really quite know what it's going to be. But I know that, we'll all bring our wonderful artistry, and so I think it's going to be very exciting. I'm sure it's going to be exciting to the audience. Because when it's exciting for us, then it becomes exciting to the listener as well. And so, I'm very much looking forward to it. I just recently came out with my latest release. It's called Provenance. And I've been very fortunate to have it, being number one on the charts. And it's on the Billboard chart since it came out, which is great. And it's a very personal album. It's very much about sort of the sounds of my childhood, and I wanted to incorporate all those sounds that I've heard as a child of the Middle East and bring them together in this album. And so I've commissioned composers from across the Middle East to write music for me. And the album is cello, oud, which is the ancient Middle Eastern lute, and 2 percussion. And it's just, has really gorgeous music in it. Kehan Kalhor, who is an Iranian composer, wrote some music for it. Jivan Gasparian, a wonderful Armenian composer, and so on. There's a lot of music in it. What seems to have gotten a lot of attention is that I decided at the end of the album to do an arrangement of the famed Led Zeppelin tune Kashmir. And the reason for that is because I love Led Zeppelin but I also just love the fact that they sort of incorporate some Middle Eastern music in that particular tune. They went to Morocco and fell in love with that. So I thought this is a great way to kind of, rock out with my cello, but also incorporate all those things together. So that arrangement, it's multi-track cello, which is something I do a lot. I do a lot of multi-tracking and building this whole big orchestra with my cello. But it's gotten, a lot of airplay. I'm very much looking forward to playing at Tanglewood because for me, it's always been one of those festivals, it really is one of the greatest festivals, I think, certainly in this country, but in the world. The BSO is an orchestra that is legendary, and that festival, I think, brings together so many wonderful artists, and it's just a great honor to be part of this event. The Jazz Festival by itself brings together so many fantastic artists. It's a great honor. Ozawa Hall, I think, is one of the greatest halls. Really, just the acoustics there, I remember from last time that I played, which was long ago, but it was just fabulous. It's beautiful. And the Berkshires, of course, are just gorgeous. And so I'm very excited about coming and performing there. I'm excited about playing with Donnell Fox. We've never played together, so it's a new exploration for me to take the kind of music that I do and try to connect it with his world and the world of all the wonderful musicians that he works with. I think it's going to be exciting.